The hairspray in here. What did one tectonic plate say to another tectonic plate when they ran into each other? Oops, my fault. You guys get it?
Yeah.
Because like faults and tectonic plates and more gemology and geology.
Sorry if we don't all erupt in laughter.
Oh my gosh, that was really good. So we've got a small gray box. Can I open it up?
Yeah, go ahead.
No. What? Oh my god, I love that ring. 2 pieces of jewelry. Yay, I'm winning today. Serpentine, it has a Mohs, like a range from 2.5 to 6. It is a pretty large group. It can be found all over the world. It has about 28 members, but there's one group that we'll talk about today that's like gem quality. It is opaque. The color can kind of vary. The reason it is 2.5 to a 6 is because there's so much variation in the group that has that fibrous structure. You know, there's so many different things that can kind of fit into serpentine, and that's what makes the group really cool. But the similarities in the group are the chemical composition and structure. And I think I'm getting punked because this is not serpentine, it is seraphinite. Seraphinite, it is known as kind of having that fibrous appearance. It is a variety of clinochlore. It's named after the seraphim angels. I know that's a lot of information at once, but I really don't want to jump too far into that because I want to save it for another episode. What you need to realize is that this one has more of a mottled look than this one, but I think it's entirely possible that, you know, someone could be confused. So just remember that when you're in the market or when you're looking at jewelry, always, you know, ask questions, gemological tools, and don't cite ID. So getting punked was maybe the best thing that happened for this episode today because it's a great lesson in using your skill set and your critical thinking and asking questions. Serpentine is a pretty large group. There are about 28 members. Those 28 members can have a Mohs scale rating of 2.5 to about 6. And that's because there's so many differences in this group. What makes this group similar is their chemical composition and structure. Basically, serpentine is a rock, and a rock is just, think of like cookie dough, and you put a bunch of sweets together in the cookie dough, you just throw a bunch of things in, and that's the cookie. That's kind of like what a rock is. It is just a bunch of different components and minerals. But hey, serpentine's really cool. We see it in jewelry, it can be in carvings. It's a simulant for jade. So, you know, in the industry, if you see a green stone that's opaque meaning that you can't see through it, and it's not jade, it's probably serpentine. So serpentine, because it's such a large group, there are some ranges in color. It can be white, yellow, green is what you're gonna see a lot, blue, black. Today we have the green, and what's also cool is that serpentine's known for like this fibrous structure, and oftentimes you'll see chatoyancy, which we've talked about before. For those of you who don't remember, it's also called cat's eye. So think of a spool of thread, and if that spool of thread is like perfectly wrapped, the light will reflect off that, and you'll see that like kind of band of light. That's what can happen in serpentine. So the name serpentine actually comes from a Latin word for serpent or snake, and they thought that because if you can see kind of that like green mottled look, it actually looks like, you know, people think that it could look like a snake, and I kind of agree. I can see it. All right, so there are 3 main types of serpentine, but today we're going to talk about antigerite because that's where the 2 gem varieties are. You have Boa Noite and Williamsite. Boa Noite, it's the most common, and when we talk about gem variety or gem quality, that's what you're gonna see in gemstones and jewelry at shows. It was named after G.T. Bowen, who first kind of studied and analyzed the material in the 1800s. All right, so Boa Noite is about a 5.5 on the Mohs scale. It's often mistaken for jade. Other names in the business that you may hear, these are kind of like misnomers. Korean jade is one of them. Always when you're buying stones, just ask questions. Keep your eye out for some of those misnomers. So the main difference between jade and serpentine, it's gonna be their properties. So it's gonna be the refractive index, specific gravity, obviously their composition and structure, but you know, just something to remember, just because jade and serpentine look very similar, they are not the same stone. Definitely something you don't want to, you know, get confused with. So Williamsite is the other type of antigerite, and it is light to medium green, and it can be found in Maryland and Pennsylvania. Those are 2 notable sources. There was actually a funny rhyme I've heard before, and it says, if it's ugly and it's green, then it's probably serpentine. And obviously that's not true, but I thought it was something funny to talk about. Funny little joke. So we actually have something that's really cool here at Jewelry Television. It's called Connemara Marble, which is actually serpentine, but it's like marble and serpentine. The name Connemara, it comes from the place in Ireland where it's found. It's really pretty. I actually have some Connemara marble. It was on my desk. You can see that mottled green appearance. I think I got this like 4 years ago at JTV. I think it's like a worry stone, and you're supposed to rub it right there. You can see the different coloring. You can see the mottled appearance. Okay, so I thought this episode was concluded. I thought I was gonna send you all to like and subscribe, and then I was gonna get out of this room I'm like inhaling hairspray. But then Christopher brings me another box because we have more surprises here at JTV. Bring it on. Ready? Oh, it's covered up. Oh wow, that's beautiful. Wow. That is gorgeous. Really pretty. How do you carve something like this? Because this is all one piece. Oh my gosh, literally there's the outside and there's like 3 inner rings. I mean, this is all one piece. This was all carved. Oh my gosh. I think this was all carved as one piece. So like a big old chunk of serpentine was then carved, and it had these like inner, I don't know. Wow, that's so cool. So you can see kind of the mottled appearance. Wow, look at those flowers. Those are beautiful. The variety of color. I mean, this is incredible. The craftsmanship on this is incredible. I think it was all carved as one piece, which means they did the outside and they did the inside. I mean, that is so, so beautiful. You know, I bet the reason that we have pieces like this that are so intricate and took a lot of artistic talent is because serpentine's actually, it's less expensive than jade. So you have a little bit more, or you have a lot more ability to carve something like this because you're not as worried about maximizing the rough, or, you know, if you make a wrong cut, you're gonna lose a bunch of weight, or you're gonna use some really valuable material. And that's why I bet the person that carved this was just, you know, thinking, hey, let's just give this a shot. I have this great idea, and it turned into a spectacular piece. So I think the reason I'm so relaxed right now is that this is a very soothing piece to hold, and it has a very soothing sound that I hear when you guys hear that? We have another rock. All right, everyone, so this is nephrite jade, and this is serpentine, and you can look, I mean, they're very similar. The coloring's a little bit different, but they're both green, they're opaque, kind of that same or similar mottled appearance. So remember, the main differences between jade and serpentine, RI, specific gravity, there's a few other tests that we can run, but yeah, just remember, they're different, even though they look the same. Oh, nice pin. Or pendant. All right, what is this? I think they're tricking me. I don't think it's serpentine. Is it serpentine? I was expecting, because you gave me nephrite jade, I was expecting something else. Here's another example of another really beautiful stone. I would not say that this piece is opaque. It just shows the variety of serpentine that we can have. This is opaque. This is more, I would say, translucent. This is a little bit more of a yellow green. This is a bit more of like a forest green, and you can see that there's some white here, and there's almost black spots or dark green spots or modeling on here. So yeah, just another example of with serpentine, you really can get quite a few different looks. All right, everyone, I want you to take a closer look at this carving. I think it's so cool how this was carved out of one piece, and you have these moving parts in the middle. I love that kind of that green and white look. I think that's just beautiful right there. The coloring, the modeling, I just think this is a really relaxing piece because of the delicate sound and the color. All right, I'm gonna go play with this little sculpture thing. In the meantime, like, subscribe, and send my production team a snake emoji as a thank you for not giving me an actual snake. Catch you later.